I want you all to look at something. We're going to have a wedding today. Y'all been through a baby dedication. Now we're fixing to go through a wedding. But I want you to understand why. Revelation chapter 19, verse 7. This happens to be in the Amplified. Don't get excited. It simply says, "Let us rejoice and shout for joy. Exalting in triumph, and let us celebrate and ascribe to Him glory and honor. For the marriage of the Lamb at last has come, and His bride has prepared herself. She has been permitted to dress in fine, radiant linen, dazzling in white, for the fine linen signifies, represents the righteousness, the upright, just, and godly living deeds and conduct of right standing with God of the saints." God's holy people. Verse 9. "Then the angel said to me, Write this down, blessed, happy, and to be envied are those who are summoned, invited, called to the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he said to me further, These are the true words, the genuine, exact declarations of God." Stand. You may be seated. You all seem to be shocked in your face because I'm going to ask you a question. Who wants to marry a dead bride? Who wants to marry a dead bride? Do you realize, how many of you here believe that Jesus Christ is coming again? Yes. How many of you want your loved ones to be saved? And yet, there is a group of people that God has called to be a bride. You know who they are? It's you. And yet today, we are a group of people that need life put back in us again. There is a world out there right now that's screaming to us. And they're running up to us like this saying, "Come alive! Live! Would you come alive one more time?" And they're saying, "But you're dead." Because as Revelation chapter 3 says, what's happening to you is because you don't have any love. You don't have anything left. Look at you. There is no love. You're dead. There's nothing there. You do not love me. There is no compassion with me. The book of Revelation said the Ephesian church, it says, you have left your love. And then he goes on to purpose and begins to say, but then there's some of you, because you are dead in depression and oppression, and you're pushed down underneath of all of your circumstances, and yet you're sitting back and you're not being out. Where are the lost? Where is the love? Where is the vitality? You realize that we've got a church that is dying because they have the word that says and the name that says they're alive, but yet they are dead. Hello? We have a group in the United States of America of a church that is anemic. It is dying because it does not know the Word of God. What group would want to die, want to marry a dead bride? And yet Jesus Christ says He's coming for His bride. Look what He said in verse 7. He says He's coming. And yet we're saying we can't do it because we are persecuted. I'm afraid to stand up and say I'm a Christian because somebody might say something against me. I'm afraid to stand up and say who I really am because I want to be part of the crowd. And yet the world keeps screaming, live! Why won't you live? Why won't you come alive? And yet we've come in our little churches and we stand there and we keep saying that we're going to be a bride. We keep standing back saying that we are to win people to God. You keep saying, God, I want to show you what the love of God is. I want to show you what it really means to have the Spirit of God. I want to show you what it really means to have something inside of me. My life is going to tell you what Jesus is. My life is going to show you I am excited. I am blessed in all measure because God is in my life. And yet we come to our churches and we sit here and it's all about a social order. And God says, but we need to be exalting and what was it saying? Triumphant, jubilant, because we're part of the bride. It's like Donnie said this morning. We were screaming a ball game. But when we come up here to say Jesus saves, we say, hallelujah. Right. And the world keeps screaming, show me something that's got life in it. Can you believe that Jesus is going to come for a church that doesn't have a prayer life? Do you believe that Jesus is going to come after a church that's ashamed to proclaim His name? Do you think Jesus Christ is going to come back after a church that's ashamed to stand up and worship Him and do what Donnie was saying this morning? Well, how long has it been since we just said, God, thank you for the privilege of sucking in our air from the very breath that I breathe? Well, how long has it been since we just stood back and said it? But God says, we've got to do that. We've got to do that. But what's happening to us is we've stood back and made it nothing but a religion. And we're dead. And we've asked Jesus Christ to marry a dead bride. That is not what God intended. Hello? Look what He says. He said we need to celebrate and ascribe Him to glory and honor, for the marriage of the Lamb has come and His bride has prepared herself. This bride doesn't look prepared to me. Matter of fact, it looks like that she's given up and doesn't see a hope. Do you understand that the world is watching us and saying, why should I have hope when you are showing no hope? There is no life in you. I look at you and I pull back and look at your face and I see nothing except